A small isolated island that few people have ever heard of is nicknamed the Graveyard of the Atlantic. Since the 16th century, depending on the source cited, between 200 and 350 shipwrecks have occurred on this small strip of land, which is known as Sable Island, with many more ships running aground. This included ships and a supply convoy during both World War I and World War II. To understand why Sable Island was so problematic, imagine this. It's foggy during the 18th century, and regional maps you've memorized note a large open area on your journey eastwards. With the crew now relaxed, you don't take too much notice that your ship is being blown slightly off course. Then, unexpectedly, a loud scraping noise is heard as the ship runs aground in an area low-resolution maps noted as fairly clear. What you had impacted was a 42-kilometer long and up to 1.3-kilometer wide island whose highest point is only 30.5 meters or 100 feet above sea level. This begs the question, how and why did such an isolated island form, with its center being 169 kilometers or 105 miles from the nearest major landmass? The answer relates to glaciers. While you might be wondering what on earth I am talking about as there are no glaciers anywhere nearby, hear me out. As a glacier advances across the landscape, it scrapes away at rock in front of the moving ice, while also pushing any loose pre-existing rock in front of it, forming a large mass of material. This material will continue to advance as far as the glacier goes on for, staying in front, but once the glacier reaches its furthest extent and starts to retreat, the large volumes of rock and sediment are left behind. This forms what is known as a terminal moraine. Note the shape of a typical terminal moraine, long and thin. Note how it looks somewhat like Sable Island. Well, that is because Sable Island is a massive terminal moraine deposit. The glacier in question it formed in association with was a massive Laurentide Ice Sheet, which approximately 20,000 years ago covered almost the entirety of Canada, including the actual entirety of eastern Canada, where it was up to 4,000 meters or 2.5 miles thick. Additionally, due to all of the water which got locked up in glacial ice during the last glacial maximum, worldwide sea levels 20,000 years ago were far lower, specifically about 125 meters or 410 feet below the modern sea level. Thus, off the eastern coast of Canada between Nova Scotia and Newfoundland, the Laurentide Ice Sheet extended for 200 kilometers beyond the modern shoreline, reaching and possibly slightly surpassing the future site of Sable Island. As this massive ice sheet retreated, disappearing from the future island site at a minimum 12,000 years ago, it left behind large volumes of sediment in a large terminal moraine deposit. The island has shrunk in size ever since as sea levels rose, although parts of it have shifted over time. This is because wind-blown sediments were also deposited on the island since then, and along with pulverized rock created a series of large sand dunes that have shifted location over time. Brackish lakes have also formed in low points between the northern and southern coastlines, and vegetation has expanded to cover sections of Sable Island and grasses and shrubs. In the 1700s, horses were released on the island, and today approximately 500 feral horses roam an area of 31 square kilometers or 19.3 square miles. Today, Sable Island is protected as part of the Sable Island National Park Reserve, which can be visited by air or boat with prior permission, of course, through approved tour operators. If you are still wondering why so many ships struck the island proper and the shallow waters surrounding it, note that its tallest point can only be just barely seen from a boat within 12.2 miles of it, and can't be seen at all when thick fog is present. As a final note, I would like to thank this channel's patrons on Patreon and channel members on YouTube.